So Red Gobbo loves stealing presents, cramming them into his massive loot bag. But this year, someone's already been pinching his gifts. Rotmus is near, and he's not happy at all. What shall he do now? In this video, we'll be painting the mischievous Red Gobbo in 10 paints, so you can start the grot revolution before the big boss finds out and crumps him good. The paints we'll be using are on the screen right now, but you can paint yours in any colours you want, or change up some of the reds or greens for different shades, depending on how bright and merry you want it to be. We also have a list of the additional equipment we've used, but you can use any brushes you feel more comfortable with, and you can swap out the mediums with water instead. If you're new to painting or want to brush up on your skills, you can check out the Citadel Colour Painting Essentials videos to learn all about paints and painting techniques. We've undercoated our Red Gobbo and his base separately using white scar, so it's easier to get under his coat and on top of the chimney when painting. We'll also keep a pot of white scar to hand to tidy up any mistakes. So let's get painting. We'll start by painting some of the darker brown details with wildwood. These details are the chimney stack, roof tiles and that fuse on the firecracker. As some details are smaller or nearer that white snow, we'll use a small base brush so we have more control with our contrast paint. But don't worry if you get any of this colour on the snow. Wait for it to fully dry, then we can touch up those details with white scar. Now we'll take Black Templar to paint his little boots and belt, the firecracker smoke, the fairy light cable and the smallest Citadel paintbrush I've ever seen. Just like with our wildwood, we'll use a small base brush, but if you're finding it tricky to get some of those details covered, you can always use a small layer brush instead. When it comes to painting that smoke, just paint 2/3 upwards with this colour, leaving the bottom third in white for our next colour. Talking about our next colour, we'll use Blood Angel's Red for that little bit of flame on the firecracker, the Red Gobbo's coat and hat, and the variety of gifts and baubles on the base. With these you can pick and choose what you want in red, but we'll be following closely to the box art. We'll even add a red twist to the candy cane, gift in the bag and the grappling hook as well. But if you don't feel comfortable painting that detail, just block it all in red, or leave it white. Just tidy up with white scar if you need to afterwards. For the loot bag, cloth, leather straps, fairy lights and ribbons, we'll be applying snakebite leather. Just take your time around those other details we painted, but also apply enough that we get those recesses shaded too. This is why it's easier to have the Red Gobbo off the base on a sub-assembly peg, so we can get all of those little details painted without ruining the white snow on the chimney. Next we'll use iron hand steel for the roof ridge cresting, details on the fairy lights, his gun and all those party poppers. Oh, I mean grenades. We'll use our small layer brush for these details as we want to be as neat as we can. Just thin down your base paint with a little bit of water and apply a couple of coats to get a solid silver finish over that white undercoat. Then we can move on to our next metallic colour. For those little gold stars, belt buckle and bullets on our Gobbo, we'll be applying Retributor armour, being neat as we can so the white fluff of his hat is especially clean. Now is the best time to change our paint water, so we don't get any of those metallic flakes into our next paints. Now our Red Gobbo is coming together. We can paint his skin with Gut Ripper flesh. Just like with our other contrast paints, we want to take our time and use a smaller brush so we can get all of those little recesses and details painted. Just like his ears, surrounded by all of that white fluff. With our cheeky little grot looking green, we can use Vulcan green to add some colour to those presents, his goggles, and bauble on his ear and on the base. We'll be adding a lovely spiral to that firecracker too, making it look like one of his gifts. But I'm not so sure if I'd want that one, Red Gobbo. With all our base colours down, we can add some depth with some Nuln Oil in two ways. For the Iron Hand Steel and Retributor armour, we'll be using it straight from the pot, using just enough to cover those details without having any pooling. If you find any pooling though, just take a clean brush and soak it away. Then we'll thin down 1 part Nuln Oil with 1 part Lahmian Medium for the Blood Angel's Red, Wildwood, Snakebite Leather and Vulcan Green details. If you don't have the medium, you can use water instead. And to finish off our wintry miniature, we'll thin down 1 part Apothecary White with 1 part Contrast Medium to give the snow and the white fluff in his coat and hat some life. We just want to apply a light coat over the white scar, so make sure that all of the white area is tidy before applying this mix. And there we are, our red gobbo's looking cheeky and sneaky, ready to steal even more presents. He just has to watch his back, or someone may come and steal his loot sack. You can finish off the whole model by adding a colour to the base rim. To keep it simple, we've used Abaddon Black, but you can use whatever colour you want. For more tutorials, tips and tricks, check out the videos on the Warhammer YouTube channel, or head to your local Warhammer store, where our amazing staff will be happy to help you. Well, we hope you enjoyed this video, and have a very Merry Grotmas. Bye bye!